Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of Crash TV. And we're in much better visual quality now. So, hello everyone.
Hello. Hello.
My name's Matt, and I've got with me
Jez.
Craig. Hello.
Dave. Hello.
Symes.
Sam. Yeah, so I think we wanted to just kind of jump in and talk about quality because everybody's been complaining that they can't see the things that we hold up to camera and they can't see us, and that the podcast's really going out kind of low quality. So what we wanted to try for the first time this week was Crash TV recorded in a kind of high quality standard def, and we'll compress that down for the podcast. Hopefully that'll be the best quality we can make it, and we'll probably make this a download available from the site as well, so people, if they really want to see the high quality, if they want to see some of the images that we're showing, and obviously our lovely faces,
good site.
then they can download that from the site.
and we can get it on iTunes as well, right?
And iTunes as well. So in fact the timing of this is slightly odd. So now that we're video, we'll put out the usual audio podcast, Crash FM, which should be uploaded by this evening, so Friday evening, and then it takes a couple of days to get the video up there, so that's something that will appear at some point over the weekend.
Cool. That's pretty cool. So, actually, we mentioned it was episode 35 of the podcast, but I think we're quite close to the first anniversary of us doing that. So
yeah, you guys.
We're trying to.
We skipped a couple of weeks. I remember we did the first one. I think it was the week after E3. We came back and we did it in a totally separate room. We actually did it in one of the office meeting rooms, and it was me and Alex. And I actually can't remember. That's really bad. I can't remember.
I was in there. Hamish was in there.
And we were talking about stuff. We talked about the games that we played at E3, and it was just a general starting point. And I think we've come quite a long way.
Yeah.
And now going to kind of higher resolution stuff. We're always learning. We're always trying to get better at interacting with the community and just generally, giving you guys what you want. So
absolutely.
You want better video footage, we'll give it to you, and you can be able to see more interesting things, and we get to show you stuff.
We'll go HD soon then.
We'll go HD soon.
Oh.
I'm not sure HD is ready for us yet.
I think I'm ready for HD.
Does that mean we're going to have to start having makeup?
Yeah, we probably will do. Actually, we'll have someone with those nose things powdering us up before we start on the podcast. Be brilliant.
You got something, Symes?
Yeah, that's one of the things actually with the video footage as well we're putting onto the site. We've been putting a lot of stuff filmed with a hand cam from YouTube, and the quality, well, the problem is that Burnout Paradise is so detailed, there's so much going off, YouTube pretty much wrecks it. So I've been doing a lot of work this week in the capture station, and hopefully what we'll be doing is next week starting to roll out some much higher quality in-game footage of all the new game modes, the challenges and everything like that.
Great.
Yeah. In fact, one of the issues we've got right now is you actually can't capture Burnout, or I don't think there's any system which is capable of doing it. We're experimenting with one which comes all the way from Israel, but the issue is 720p, 60 frames a second, and then just a mountain of detail on screen, and we've tried a bunch of different things to actually try and get that over, but it's really difficult. So obviously people playing the game know how great it looks, but it's really hard for people who haven't played it or are just looking at it for the first time in our videos to understand that that's really how crisp and sharp it really is.
But we'll keep working on it. We'll evolve it. I'm sure we have the technology somewhere. Yeah. Well, that's good. So so we'll figure out when our first birthday is, and
so you guys had a big break, didn't you, around December? So
yeah,
35 is one a week, but then with some
there were some
time
gaps early off when we started. There were some gaps, and we had some breaks, and I think we used to do it every other week, didn't we?
We did 2 a week on a few of them. Then we did the Titanic episode, which was, I think it was 3 hours long, where we got to the point, because when we started, we don't know how many people we're going to get letters from, emails and whatever, so we promised everybody from the start we will read out every letter that we get sent in, and it got to a point where I think we had like 100 we did in one session. So
yeah, I mean, if it's anything close
to our promise, we read out all 100 of them, because they're really useful. So
we modified the statement and just said we'll read every letter we get.
Yeah, so we definitely, we still read everything that comes in. That's a big part of Simon's job.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, I'm probably going through best part of about 50 to 60 mails a day.
Yeah, and that's to mailbag@criteriongames.com.
Absolutely, yes, indeedy.
Yeah, so
Right
in fact, if you want to know what happens when their mails come through, they immediately come through to Symes, and then he kind of distributes them through the team. So Dave's obviously working on the new island and the artwork for the world, and so anything which relates to that goes bouncing through to him. So Symes is kind of the first point, and then everybody gets to see stuff. So we read everything.
I get to have a look every so often because he set it up on my machine, so I can dive into mailbag.
It's on mine as well. So we all kind of have a look.
Yeah, but we know about you and replying to emails, don't we? So,
what's that supposed to mean?
Well, no.
It's a personal message.
The personal messaging on the forums, yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about where we're at with Cagney. So last week, I think we mentioned we're very close to bug free, and through the course of this week, we've been at 0 bugs, and then we've had a couple come in, then we've had a lot come in, and we've squished them down. We're at that interesting phase of development where you think you're done, and then something nasty comes around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's very complex. A lot of the stuff we put into Cagney, all the new time treatment challenges, the multi-part stuff, and we just because of the amount of people we have playing the game and testing it, we just still find problems. So we want to make sure that we don't ship anything that's not as perfect as we can make it. So we spent a couple of hours playing the challenges yesterday, and we found some small problems, and it's some other developers might kind of let it go and go, you know what, there's a bug in there and we know about it and we're going to ship it, but actually we try and keep our quality really, really high, so it will go when it's done, but obviously we're trying to get through that as quickly as possible.
I think I just did a quick look at the we have a system called DevTrack here, which is how we organise our bugs and who's assigned to them and lots of different things. I just took a look through, so I think we're sitting on about 3 at the moment. They all look relatively easy to solve, so hopefully we'll get to bug free today, and then yes, and then it's up
free
to
donuts when we get to bug free. Even though the programmers are fixing the bugs.
What was bacon rolls the other day? I came around to check out bikes. There were bacon rolls everywhere.
Well,
brilliant,
awesome. Yeah, I just happened to be in the area and suddenly it was bacon roll. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I think it was that must have been down to under 10 bugs, something like that.
Oh, nice! I missed that. So then we go on to our QA, our internal QA group here. Go off and they start their what they call their final playthrough. So even though Cagney is a chunk of new content which we've talked about with our Freeburn game modes, our new challenges, and loads of bug fixes, and obviously the new community page right at the start of the game, they have to go back because we've been messing around with the code. They have to go back and run through the entire game playthrough again. I think that the last thing they said that was going to be like 4 days straight.
Yeah, because it's a big game. There's a lot of stuff to play through, and even though I guess not a lot of people know this about the way that we make games, is that we don't just Cagney doesn't just sit on top of the game as a completed thing. It's interwoven, like Matt said. There's the new live front end page that boots up, so we are still touching the game, and there are times when you potentially break certain things, so we have to go back and check that the main progression and the main license system works that was shipped on the original disc. So we do have to check all that stuff. It's not just a case of checking only the new stuff that goes in, because we want to make sure we don't break people's profiles and people's saves.
Absolutely, we don't want to do that.
We've played games before where you download something, it's bust my save. We don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
And also, everything kind of works really nicely and as well as we can get it to be. So.
And we want it out first time as well.
Right. I was just thinking one of the big things is that it's truly game-changing content.
Yes.
It's not just a pack. It is something which changes the way that you play, and
absolutely,
even the way that you look at things that exist in the game and you've become familiar with.
Well, we've reskinned the entire front end, so everything. It's cool looking at the same game but in a different way, because it's all we have the tarmac textures on stuff and all the kind of orange highlights. So it's kind of cool.
It does look fresh.
It immediately freshens it up.
Yeah.
So it's cool, and we're aiming to do that with every update, and every game-changing content that we put out there is always change the look of the game, so it doesn't get tired. And we'll just look at adding extra information into driver's details, for example. We know that people are really keen to see what happens after 101% on your license, because there's a lot of people who are keen for that. So all of this stuff we're thinking about, we're plugging it back into the game and making it future-proof as well. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to do, and Cagney is the first step towards doing that and making sure we don't break everybody else's experience they've already had.
Yeah, that's right. And so our path from sort of here to you is So we do our final QA run through here. That will go successful. We go into the sort of EA-wide, worldwide testing, which is called ECG, TCG. And then once that...
Yeah, you have to get this bit dead right, Matt, because we still get letters every day that say, I know you guys have got it. I know you've got the Cagney content.
You've had it all done for weeks.
When are we going to get it? And they're just like frustrated fans who are reading the cool stuff that we're telling them.
That's right. So,
and everything about Cagney that they really want to play. And we kind of sympathise because, we want everybody playing it too, but it just takes time to get this stuff out. So into test with EA.
Yeah, into our test, then final into certification at Sony and Microsoft. And then once they're done with it, then they just flick it onto the servers and it comes to everybody.
I think one of the big points as well, actually, in terms of testing, the moment it goes live, the amount of hours of testing that when it goes live is substantially more than we can ever test internally. So,
well, within an hour we get thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, whereas here, we'd probably be lucky to do a few hundred during a week.
That's right.
So that's why we have to be as thorough as we can, because if we put it out into the wild, as we call it when we
into the wild,
the last thing we want is that people are looking forward to Cagney, to get it down, and it breaks in some way. So that's really why it has to go through so many stages of very, very rigorous testing. I mean, our QA guys, are really hammering through all of the challenges and all the freeburn game modes to make sure that's all really robust.
Yeah, and just before we move on, I mean, I think it's incredibly complicated because we built something that was seamless. Jumping in, jumping out, start something, change something, cancel something, online with lots of players. So I mean that we didn't exactly make it easy for ourselves, did we? So moving on. So the next things that we're going to be looking at is I guess what we're doing in terms of PC game.
Yeah, that's right. So
PC,
yeah. Whoa!
Right, and now if you speak Danish, it's got to be clean and accurate.
Is that possible?
Yeah, Danish. You can't speak clean Danish.
It's got to be Danish as well. You can't just make up some random string of words.
Okay, well, like the Swedish chef.
Not quite.
Yeah. So on PC, a couple of things we want to talk about. First of all, we put up some screens this week. We put up the bike shot that we did, which got some high res.
Awesome.
Yeah, high res picture of the bike. Absolutely amazing. Put it up. I was amazed at how quickly it sort of went out to the wider web. Sort of the next day, I'm getting Google alerts telling me about bikes and PC.
Getting Google alert people saying my screen's not big enough to fit this image on. So we put everything goes out onto the site in quite a kind of a small thumbnail format. But if you click through to the Flickr site and hit all sizes, you can see the native resolution, some of this stuff. And the PC screens come through ridiculous size.
Yeah, they're enormous.
You guys are worried about getting high res video.
We could do the bike as a poster, and it would be probably that size of the wall.
Yeah, we should. Now, you guys worry about how you're going to get the game on YouTube in good quality at 720p. I'm sitting there sweating with PC.
Yeah, it's not going to happen on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube at full res. No, so it's really cool. We're really excited. We're driving around, enjoying the bike in there. We're working on getting the night stuff in there. We'll show you some stuff from that soon. But the bike's really exciting for us. It's been quite a long time on the PC where we've been working sort of on the old tech, the old game, and we finally
playing catch up.
Yeah, playing catch up. Getting the bike in is a really big deal for us. We're really happy to see the responses out there, and the fact that people are so excited that the bike's going to be part of the standard PC product. So that's really cool. The other one we put out was the tech thing we were talking about last week, the SSAO.
Oh, and I love this. Yeah. I love this because I knew this would happen as soon as we started getting involved with the PC. That we would suddenly, we become like acronym central, and everything's got to have like initials, and all our fans suddenly are experts as well. I think that's probably the thing which has struck me more than anything else since we've been working on the PC.
They know more about it than us.
Amazing.
Apparently so.
We're getting descriptions through. The description that came through from
Cube, I think it was.
From Cube on the technique that we're applying to our game was absolutely spot on. And
if he could have said that to us a couple of weeks earlier, we probably would have been finished quicker.
Yeah, quite. That is community involvement.
Mailbag, please.
Yeah. Now, one of the cool things about the SSAO, I mean, we put the screenshots on so you can see them. You can go and have a look at what it is and what it does. You got to see it in motion to really get the joy out of it. But,
I think we saw that. It's quite a subtle effect. I think
it is.
Certainly from the way that we were able.
But
to
if you want to
show
understand what it does in layman's terms. Apparently the graphics guys, some of the most intelligent people we got in the building, sat down for about an hour and tried to describe in layman's terms what it is and what it does. Basically, take your hands out in front of you.
Right,
okay.
You're about to clap.
Yeah, all of you. Yeah, okay, this is participation. You guys do it at home. Basically, move your hands close together.
Right.
And as they get very close, you notice that the light inside your hands isn't getting there, so your hands become darker.
Okay.
Now that's basically what happens in the game when we put the SSAO on. Wherever there's an angle, wherever there's a corner, basically it darkens. It's another form of shadow. Really cool, really detailed. Not going to go much more into it. You can look at it on the web. And like I say, if you've got any other tips about how we do something like that, send it to us. Cube, you're looking good.
Yeah, if you want to come in and help us finish the PC version.
On the summer holidays, summer holidays.
In fact, I bet a load of people would do that for free, wouldn't they?
So the other thing we did was we posted this screenshot, which is, I don't know whether you can see it, just hold it up a little bit closer. Basically, it's a work in progress of our visual settings screen. I'm going to hand it round. And what's so exciting about that is it starts to show you some of the things you're going to be able to turn on and off on the PC to sort of get the scalability.
Resolution 3840 by 1200.
That's the resolution you get.
I figure that these things are relatively standard on PC, but we're all looking around. Look at this.
Yeah.
But basically, what we're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to
going, oh, look at the settings.
Yeah, that setting you sort of went wow over. That's completely standard.
Oh.
No,
what's the XXX thing? That's just not.
That's a secret.
A secret feature.
Yeah.
Activate XXX graphics mode.
Actually, talking about that on some of the settings, not many people actually realise that our volume settings in the game go up to 11. That's a lot. So I don't know if that is one of your sort of
we've got
going up to 11?
So this number of screens go up to 2. Have you played it on the two monitors?
That's true.
That's true. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's how we take the screenshots. We've got these 2 big monitors that we've got, one right on top of the other, and we sit sort of at an angle where the screens meet, and we play the game. It's absolutely awesome. And it gives us these fantastic screenshots. But anyway, the key things that we're seeing is a lot of people are really excited by the video settings because it gives them a sense of what they are going to be able to turn on and off, and also the sort of machine that's going to be able to run the game at min settings, because Criterion has always really cared about the frame rate that we've got our games at. I mean, every Burnout we've shipped has been at 60 frames per second on console, and we can't control that on PC. So one of the things we're concerned about is our games are going to get a bad experience because they somehow set the settings wrong. And
that will be from someone going for crazy resolution when their PC's not crazy performance.
Yeah.
And then they get something like 1, 2, 3 frames per second, which is unplayable and completely unrecommended. So what we need to do is we need to educate people in what it is that they can do, turn on and off, and what's valid, where you get the performance from, what you want to do with your screen settings so that you get the maximum experience you can. At the same time, no point in going over 60, because if you turn it all down and your PC's running at 300, it's not going to change anything. You're still only going to get the 60 frames per second on the screen. So
cool. That was a good week for you guys then.
Yeah, really exciting. A lot of feedback from the forum. Thanks a lot, guys out there. Really cool. We look at it, we read it, we really enjoy the feedback.
Actually,
awesome.
Can I just jump in with a question from the mailbag here, Sam? It's one of the things that I keep getting loads of mails, really excited about the PC, and I think if we just could kind of clear it up here for the first time, anyway, saying a lot of people really liking it, liking the motorbike shot that we had in there and all this lot, but is there a release date for the PC version of Burnout Paradise?
Not yet. We're working on it. You'll get it as soon as you can, but got to wait a little bit longer than that. Everybody's talking about it. We're talking about it. Just wait a little bit. We'll be letting you know.
Yeah, and obviously viewers to Crash TV as it is now, or people who frequent our CriterionGames.com website will be the first people to know.
You bet.
Yeah.
Last week we also talked a little bit about Edge and the fact that the PC screen was in there, so I thought I'd bring it along this time. Not just to show you guys the screen in there and talk about it, and the fact that the SSAO is on in that screen. It's absolutely beautiful. The comment, I love it. It says Criterion's port of Burnout Paradise, the current state of the art in PC gaming.
Brilliant.
There we go.
And then finally,
was it Craig's name's on that car, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Did you know that? Did you know you existed on that car as well?
Well, not Craig's name, but his
gamertag.
His gamertag. So if you have a look on that screen, somewhere on there you can find Craig's gamertag. You can send him a mail,
which he won't reply to.
That's very true.
And also,
I'll reply to all of my personal messages this afternoon, and then you won't be able to have a go at me next week.
Well, I wouldn't, because I've been getting ones from people saying I can't send email. Can you help?
What does that mean?
No, I can't.
Well, how did you get the mail anyway?
Yeah. That was through a personal message. Yeah, okay. So
and then finally, of course, we also talked about the beautiful people at the office, the guys that we got in here.
Well, the handsome men that were
and Matt, because again, I think it's on page 68. You get a beautiful view of
Like a
Hamish'
rogues
profile,
gallery.
Matt's profile, and a very concentrated Greg.
Craig.
Oh, that's it. Sorry, get confused. And,
I was actually when that shot was taken, I was playing the motorbike, so you can see, I'm focused on the screen, 200 miles an hour through traffic.
So yeah, they're there. Go and have a look at it.
Good stuff. Thanks, Dan. Right, moving into the special features session. Oh, come on, a bit of excitement, please. Right,
yeah, so this is the part of the show where, because I think what we wanted to give the show a bit of a structure this week. I think so for the first
the
time,
winging it process is probably
exactly. We don't randomly tell you things as they pop into
run
our
its
heads.
course.
So obviously what we've heard so far is what's going on right now in the game,
Yep.
and then on to what's the latest on the PC, and then we figured there was definitely room in the show for a kind of just something which is new to each episode, and just a kind of an update on anything that's interesting and cool that's happened in the office. And so we've got Dave with us today.
Yep.
Who's going to tell us about the island.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start with some challenge stuff.
Challenge.
Then we're going to talk about Road Rage, and then we're going to talk about the island. And actually, I'm going to also talk about how the road rule system, arbitration system works. So, actually, I'll talk about.
Wrong.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not.
Right section, wrong feature.
Yeah. Jumping around. Last week we spoke about Partners in Time, and I made a mistake. How could I? I actually got confused with one of our other challenges. So I mentioned we were talking about areas and how we're using different parts of the world for some of our new timed free event challenges, which are new in the codename Cagney downloadable content that's coming very soon. And we were talking about getting a time on Partners in Time, which it involves getting near misses on the beach. But I talked about some areas of the world that we hadn't used before, and the basketball court on Big Surf is not in that challenge.
Don't be too hard. Don't give him R either.
He made a mistake. Don't give him sympathy.
No, it wasn't a mistake because while we were refining that challenge, you did actually start in the basketball court. So you had to meet up in the, so we just refined through it. So you used to meet up in the basketball court, which not many players know about because we don't really use it that much. And then you had to drive over to the beach, and as soon as you did your first aerial near miss, the timer would start.
That's
and
right.
You had to do 3 each, and then you had to each jump over each other using the same ramps, and the time would stop. And now it's just meet up at the beach. You don't have to go to the basketball court first.
Yes.
And you do the same action. So it's 3 aerial near misses. Aerial near misses are kind of new for
they are.
Cagney.
They're new for challenges, yeah.
And they're cool for, there's a few different reasons why they're cool actually. One is that the comedy element of trying to do an aerial near miss. So you have two cars going towards each other. What do you think's going to happen? If one person's not lined up properly, you're going to crash into each
I
other.
always think it's kind of a funny term anyway, because surely a near miss is actually a hit, because you've nearly missed.
Okay.
Anyway.
But it's missing, but near.
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
So so that's cool. We use aerial near misses in a few of the challenges actually because they're really good fun, particularly when you're doing 8 players and you're all doing near misses, which is just crazy.
Yeah, and actually on the basketball court then, so the challenge that does start in the basketball court is called Slam Dunk. It's a 2-player challenge. Actually, I think we use it in some other areas as well. And you head to the basketball court, and then you jump off the Hamilton Avenue car park in as quick a time as possible, and that's a really fun challenge.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about.
Why did you change it?
Because it wasn't that path wasn't necessary.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we're introducing. So the thing about these time challenges is not just obviously the time that's new. It's the fact that all of them have 2 parts to them. So
at least 2 parts.
At least 2 parts. Yeah. So
three.
the one Partners in Time is do aerial near misses and then jump each other.
Okay.
And Slam Dunk is get to the basketball court, then get to the Hamilton car park, then jump off it. And all of the new challenges form that multi-part timed challenge. So they're brand new and they're really exciting actually.
Yeah, they're really cool. And we'll talk a bit in a while about some of the challenges we've had sent in. But it is amazing. We know from the telemetry everybody hangs in Freeburn doing challenges.
Absolutely.
And we realise from the competition just how many people are interested in
Do we know
new
which
stuff.
challenge is the most popular?
We can tell people.
Yes.
We're going to start sharing. So I do keep promising this, and we will start putting some of the sort of interesting information of how people are playing Burnout Paradise out soon.
I think one of the other things about the new challenges as well, teamwork is vital. It's very interesting.
And communication.
Communication.
Yeah.
So, sort of watching a session when you're all playing and everybody's together and it all happens. and then what happens when that communication breaks down could be as hilarious as well.
It is. I mean, that's what I mean. You are clearly going to need to be able to talk to people. On these new challenges. So better get the headset out. Yeah. And also the fact that we're sort of advertising the fact that people are doing or have been doing challenges in the game search results. Hopefully, will mean that you're joined by like-minded people.
Yeah. You have to work together because the timer. It's a very very simple concept.
Yeah.
The timer does change things very very dramatically because you immediately know that you could have done that free burn challenge better. So when we play Partners in Time, I know I keep going on about this just because it's one of the cooler challenges, but it's also over really quickly. I think, what do we get it down to?
22.97.
Yeah. So, and we know we can do it better.
I think there's a couple of seconds in there.
Yeah. So immediately, we couldn't have talked about the original challenges that we shipped in Burnout Paradise on the disc in the same way.
No.
You go in, you complete the challenge, and then you might go back and play it with more players and help people out, which I know a lot of people are doing. But there was no real incentive for you to go back and try and improve because it was a very black or white thing. It was either you completed it or you haven't. So now, when you haven't really been as efficient as you can with the way you drive around.
Yes.
I'm talking about you here, not me. Then you go back and you play the same challenge again, and it's just as interesting, and you get better at it because you can do it quicker. So that's cool.
I have a question about the leaderboard as well. What comparisons can you make on those leaderboards about your time and everybody else's?
It's the same way as we do with our other leaderboards. So it puts your personal best into there, and obviously the person who's on this. What you infer from that is whoever's got exactly the same time as you is likely to have been in that challenge with you, and obviously because you'll recognise them, and you can cut that by the best and friends.
Cool.
There's actually I've completely forgot about this. I don't even know if we've got it in the list of Cagney features, but we actually have leaderboards for all the ranked routes now. So so I don't know. I think that might be brand new. Yeah, I'm not gonna go read through this right now. But I completely forgot. I was looking at the sort of information that we're tracking in the game for some other reasons. But I completely forgot we did this. So obviously we have the 40 Paradise official sanctioned drives now for competition racing that's coming out in Cagney. And then we actually have players are able to post their best times to those leaderboards, so people can talk about being the best.
That's
in
awesome.
numerous different
That's
ways.
Awesome. Breaking news.
Yeah,
on
forgot
the
about it. We put so much into it.
We'll tell you everything as we hear it, and there's a new one for us.
Yeah.
We'll
We've just found a massive piece of work that we did in the software.
So actually, I was going to talk about as we're talking about times and things. I'm just going to jump to the road rule stuff. So what we're seeing, particularly on the forums, is people are. We started. Playing, I think, with the community and saying this is our fastest time on this particular road, and it starts into a competition clearly. But the problems that we had with that unknown exploit for the road rule times, it's always sort of said that there's a sort of an element of doubt to players' times. Let's say.
Yeah, I had some doubt when we did the. I'm convinced he was using that exploit, and that's the only reason he could have beaten me.
I doubt everything Matt ever said.
I appreciate that. So obviously it's important because road rules are really cool, and as you can see, even with that element of doubt in there, the forum community are actually using road rules a lot, and they're actually using them in really interesting ways. So it evolved from who's the best on this road to what's your total time for this road and this road. So whilst Cagney sort of was in development, we decided that we wanted to sort of ring fence those times and make sure that the exploit was fixed, and that obviously we needed to do some work to stop, because obviously when you do a fast time, it saves it on your save game and then it tries to upload to the server just in case you weren't connected at that particular time. So we needed to ring fence that part of the game as well. So when Cagney's out, those times are gone because we're going to reset all of the road rules times across the world, but that's nothing to be worried about because you store them obviously on your profile, and then when you attempt to upload a time to the server, we've got like a gatekeeper guardian time that says, That time's not
suspicious
possible.
time.
Yeah, stranger time, and
That's not a person, by the
no,
way.
no, it's not.
Someone manually checking the millions of
Yeah.
road rules.
It's
Do
not.
we have a
So
team of
basically-
agents now
Yeah,
that we'll be
quite.
sending out to people's homes?
Yeah, knocking on the door, midnight.
But we don't have to worry about our progression. So if we're halfway through getting all of the
Yeah, so
road rules, it's not going to affect that.
no, it's not, because what happens is, so let's say I've got a small road rule time on Webster Avenue, let's say, that was done by an inadvertent exploit on the timer. So we reset the scores, then you connect, it tries to upload, and so the small time goes up and it gets rejected by the server, and the server then tells the game to say set it at 1/100th of a second below the par time, so you keep the road rule, and essentially the small time is removed from your profile. So it's nice and safe, it doesn't affect your progression, it just means that we then know that those times are legitimate times, and people can get road
That's
ruling.
cool. Yeah, I think it's really important. It's amazing seeing how honest people are declaring their times. Nobody ever cheats that part of the game, so it's almost like people I think a bit frustrated that some of their times aren't accurate and they can't get
so now
those
they
times
are.
dead on.
Now they are. So that's really cool.
So
So
that gives me a hope in hell of being able to actually...
No, because
No, because the exploit's gone now.
yeah, quite.
You might actually have to be good at the game
I'll hire somebody
rather
else.
than cheating. It's
Yeah.
probably worthwhile just saying, how we came to that number. So we because we have special versions of the game in the office, we turned the traffic off. We got the fastest car and we raced up and down the roads and kind of had a little competition amongst ourselves and set the ultimate fastest time because there's no traffic.
Yeah.
And then we looked at it and said, there's a certain percentage of this, unless you're driving some crazy vehicle from the future, you're never going to be able to get 50% of this time. So we're looking at that, and there's a comparison there. So we have actually tried as much as we can to make sure that it's not just some crazy code that looks after stuff. It's actually based on our timings. And based on
we could have done it by find the shortest line and work out the fastest car and do it like that. But we wanted to make it have a degree of human involvement in setting those sort of par times. So that's really cool, and that's going to mean that I think that the sort of competitions that we can do with road rules will open up now that sort of little hint of doubt has been removed.
Fair and robust, and also the reason why we're looking back at road rules is that we're going to do some interesting stuff with it in the future.
Yes, we are.
Stuff we're talking about for Davis that we got quite excited about yesterday, which is quite cool.
We did.
So it's we're making sure that we have a really stable environment, a really stable platform to do cool things in the future. So road rules will have changed a little bit when you play them in Cagney, but in the future we're going to take them further, because we're from looking at the telemetry and looking at the forums and generally people creating their own competitions, they like them. It's a really simple comparison, everybody can participate, so we're going to take them further in the future.
Yes, and you and I both know how that nice little simple feature is actually kind of lift the lid on it, and it's a can of worms inside road rules.
I think it's like that bit in one of the Indiana Jones films where you open it up and it's just all seething and alive. It's like either the snakes or the Beatles. But it's a simple idea that's relatively complicated to implement, and there's lots of places where it could go wrong, but actually we tried to simplify it as much as possible. So now we're just making sure it works properly, and like I said, the interesting cool stuff we have running in the office for what we're going to do in the future with road rules is quite exciting.
Cool, Simon.
And it's enabled as well in the Cagney update all the time, so you can be in the middle of a challenge and set that.
That's right. Yeah.
Accidentally setting best times. All
It's really quite a satisfying feeling.
I doubt anybody's going to accidentally set a time on Sullivan that's better than mine. Anyway.
Well, there's a challenge.
No, you have to be deliberate, and I'll be deliberate with it a bit later on.
Who drives in Sullivan anyway?
Yeah.
You've got to deliberately choose to drive in Sullivan.
I don't think there's a road in the game called Greg, though, is there? So that might be something about women. Or maybe my name's Greg Sullivan. I don't know.
Okay, so that sort of wraps up our special features. I mean, we're going to talk about resetting road rules a little bit later on. And actually, Dave's going to talk about in the future segment. You're going to be talking about the island. So what's been going on in the community?
Wow.
We've been busy. We've been busy. So I've got.
You have been busy.
I'd write some stuff down because I didn't want to forget it all. The challenges thing. It was interesting we talked about challenges just then, because we're starting to get kind of more into challenges, and I think as we realised, everybody in the game is just hanging out in Freeburn, just having the best time, just doing the challenges. We've had people we play the game with saying, hey, how many times do you think you've done this challenge? And it's just like we almost need a counter on how many times you've completed all of the challenges, because people are just doing them again and again and again, and they do seem to really work nicely. So we figured, as part of what we're doing this week in the studio, so all of the studios sending in new ideas for challenges, it was like, how wild and crazy can we get the challenges and have everybody contribute? We figured, let's throw that out to the to the community and see what people have got, and we got a massive response on there.
Huge. Every morning it's like the moment we posted the thing about, hey, Criterion, make my Freeburn challenge, boom.
Yeah, I think it's probably been like the biggest competition that we've run, and it's for a really short period of time, so we may actually extend this and just get a load more people, because everybody's into it. Everybody's got like 10 ideas for challenges, so we'll read some of these out.
I don't think you can play a challenge without sitting there thinking what you would do if you could create your own.
No.
Exactly.
Whenever I play the game, whenever I go into challenges, I'm always sitting there thinking, I think I'd do that, or I'd do that.
Yeah, or you find some part of the world you've never been to before, or for whatever reason, everybody's got cool ideas for challenges. And in fact, we saw on the forums this week that there was a list that someone had posted. I don't know if you remember who this was, Symes. Things to do in Paradise City after you've completed one. One of which was
there's a couple of things going on there. Actually.
Yeah,
It was
really
Livy and a number was posted that.
It was a really cool thread, but part of it was view the challenge videos on CriterionGames.com and then go and replicate those without distraction of the game actually existing. So we've got people currently playing our future challenges because we've told them what they are.
I mean, there are games of Mark Man out there as well that are being hosted. Right, you're the Mark Man, we're going to get you.
That's very good.
It's fantastic stuff.
So I think that that's part of the kind of the sort of spirit of challenges, is it's hang out in the world, what can you come up with to do, and what are the fun things.
Well, that was where they were born. I mean, let's not forget, I mean, that's how it was born, because we had Freeburn running, and it just, naturally playing the game with 8 other people, just, hey, why don't we go off and do this? That's where they came from.
Yeah,
so it's good to see that that's sort of being picked up by people, and
everybody loves it. And so I'll read out a few of these because they're pretty good. And in fact, this is really indication of just how the challenges have come through. This mail starts. I really should have written these down and just sent one mail. Oh well, because we got about 10 mails from Mr. Phil. But a couple of these were crash landing, jump through the suspended fuselage in the airfield, and score a vertical takedown on this landing. In fact, a bunch of people just said, you know what, we'll always just have like score a vertical takedown on the landing, because that's something you can add to any jump challenge.
It's quite interesting because we do have that in the new set of challenges. I'm not sure if we've done a video on that one just yet, but it's very, very cool, because so we have, I think it's a 7 or an 8 player challenge where you jump off the Rockridge Dam cliff and score a vertical takedown, and everyone has to do it, and so it naturally happens that you do it in turn. And if you're waiting, it's the first time you're trying to catch a car. It's exactly that sort of feeling. You're driving and trying to catch someone.
We actually had Zero J actually send us that.
Yeah, he sent us
challenge.
Oh right, that's interesting. Is that right?
And it's funny how people play that as well, because if it's just do it once, if it's between a team of 8, complete a vertical takedown as part of the big jump, it was almost like you can either have everybody line up at the landing for the jump, it's like to create as big a target.
That's exactly what happens.
Or you just have everybody just go in convoy with a slightly different jump, and you've got a guy at the bottom trying to catch one.
That's exactly what's happening. And so it sort of just turns that on its head, because you're just trying to catch cars.
There's also things that happen while you're playing the game doing the other challenges. You can't avoid it. You're sitting there, you just got out of the jump off the dam, and somebody lands on you. Great moments.
The jump on the dam. In fact, this was probably, if there was one challenge that everybody wanted to do stuff to, it was the jump on the dam. So this one from Mr. Full, barrel roll off the dam super jump within 5 seconds of each other. So an 8 player, everybody lined up in convoy, everybody trying to get the jump together in a convoy type of thing is what I'm going for. And I think that'd be really good fun. And a lot of people have kind of mentioned convoy stuff, because I think that when you session one of those big jumps, you do find people kind of lined up and playing together like that, taking it in turns to do the jump.
Yeah, it's all very cool to be airborne at the same time.
Oh, it's brilliant. And so this one from Zero J, 3,000 yards of drifting and 5 near misses each on the rarely used Dead Man's Edge curve.
That's right, no one ever drives it.
Because there's such a huge jump next to it. B-Dude27 had mentioned it when he was here, and I thought this was really cool. This was another kind of theme of the challenges that people sent in were, hey, I go to this part of the world and I think it's really fun there, and no one ever seems to be there. Like, let's invent some stuff which takes us there. And we talked a bit about looking at the heat map of the world as well.
That's right, we did.
Just kind of identifying where where are the bits that people really like to hang out? We know that it's kind of the airfield. We know that it's the figure of 8 stock car track, the beach. There's a bunch of places which are really popular, and then there's a bunch of places which are quite rarely used,
that are very cool,
like the basketball court you mentioned last week. So what else have we got? Mid-air crashes, 5-player tombstoning, land a jump from the car park ramp on Shenbury Pass to Lucas Way. And how about you have to perform 2 barrel rolls outside the Nakamura factory, but the catch is you have to be in a Nakamura vehicle.
Nice.
So kind of vehicle based crashes, having to pull those out. So loads of good stuff there, and obviously the prize for this is we'll name the challenges after the names that people have come up with, and we'll kind of credit them in either in the ticker text or in the name of the challenge. We really want people to participate in this and kind of get involved. So we want to put as many challenges in as we can, and we don't know whether this will be Cagney, Davis or beyond, but we're just thinking great ideas for challenges we can always use.
No, they sound very cool, and actually, very much in line with where we're thinking. So
a lot of them are actually really similar to ones that are already in Cagney, which is a good thing.
So claims Greg. Quick,
get them in.
Down the notes. Oh, I thought of that. Yeah, it's already in the game.
And like some people, I will be proved right in that Cagney's pretty much done, and it's not like I'm going to rush out and go, boys, we need to change the challenges.
That's not what I heard this morning.
That'll be happening later.
So in fact, probably Davis, but Davis and Eastwood and beyond, we can have more.
Yeah, talking of deluging the mailbag as well, actually, postcards. Last podcast we said, look, send us your postal address, because a lot of people had sent all these wonderful postcards out here. Keep them coming. If you send us
Where is it, Symes, that you send the postcards to?
Where you send it postcards to, it's
Onslow House, Onslow Street, Guildford, Surrey, England, GU1 4TN. Great.
Do we need to be back next week with a song for that?
I think we've got to sing it. We're going to have to sing
We'll
it.
work on a song. That's a good thing to work on at the weekend. I'm trying to come up with a song for that Criterion address.
Yeah, I've got my lyrics down.
Can we do it along the lines of Postman Pat or something?
So we're going to send some postcards back.
Yeah, why not?
I've got all of these here. I've got all of everybody's return addresses. If you send in another postcard, send us your return address. We will send you a postcard. I've signed all these, chaps.
Great. Well, we're obviously not going to sign them all now, right?
No.
Sit here in silence and spend 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
So
that'll make an interesting podcast.
Yes.
Like watching Detention.
It's got one of those squeaky markers or something like that.
Very good. All right. So what else has been going on in the community?
So we posted I'm going to have to read this out again. We posted a competition which we called Downtown Showtime Showdown. Yes!
Sorry, I missed that. What was it?
What was it again, Jess?
Yeah. So the thinking was that we would do, because Showtime's so cool, and because it's such a kind of underused part of the game, people don't seem to be spending that much time there, and we love it. We wanted to post something which gave.
Are these the scores?
These are the scores.
Mental.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
So last night I put a spreadsheet up, and in fact, if there's any confusion over this, I think was it Cube had put up a really brilliant spreadsheet that everyone can just go and input their scores on. So we'll just combine everyone onto that one location. So we'll stick a link on the front page of the site, and you can just click on that and upload your scores. We'll check those in telemetry later, but for the moment, we're kind of trusting people's honesty. And trusting people's honesty, we were actually quite traumatised last night by some of the scores that came in.
Really?
We just thought no one is going to enter the competition after they see these scores come in, and it was
Magnitude, wasn't it?
It was Magnitude V1 who'd sent in like a 2.4 billion.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
1 billion for Angus Wharf, and we just
How
thought, well,
long
this
are they
is it.
taking?
I don't know.
That's
we can
a
find
day
out,
right there.
We should get
surely.
in touch with Magnitude and check it out with him, or maybe some of these others, because we've actually got a combined total of 6.3 billion for Magnitude, and we just thought
incredible.
that's it. Competition's over. No one else can want to
award
enter.
it now.
Yeah. So first thing this morning, we checked the spreadsheet again, and we've got Bugatti Veyron with a combined total of 123 million, which is pretty good, and then we've got just like out of nowhere DBC 9MX with 11.7 billion.
Oh my word!
So he's clocking 39 million 2 billion 4th Street and 3.3 billion Angus Wharf. The biggest score, Harbour Street, nearly 5 billion score on that. So we're going to have to verify these scores.
I have to know how much time that's taken.
Yeah, and how could we verify that with DBC 9MX Symes?
Well, you can just call the telemetry log.
No, better than that. He's in on Friday.
Yes,
so
yes.
Oh, okay, let's see it.
So
He's
he's
got a
got
recreation of that next week.
So if we've got 3 hours spare, we'll be checking that he can actually,
He's staying the weekend, right?
in excess of 4 billion.
He can start it at the beginning of the podcast,
and we'll see what score
when
is.
we get to the end, we'll just turn the camera on him.
Yeah,
we
very
should
good.
do that. It is Friday. He's in.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of things actually. He was on the forum saying, "I'm in Guildford. I'm going to turn up." We waited for him. He didn't show up, so I mailed him and said, "Look, if you're in Guildford, let us know." And so we set something up. So he's going to come in. And also the other thing as well, actually, about him is his little guy.
DVC 9 Junior.
Yeah, at 4 years old, has got his 101%. So
4 years
that's
old.
4 years old.
Big hand.
Very good.
Big hand.
So I think we're going to have to sort something out for him as well on that one too.
My son's 4.5, and he thinks he's got 101, but actually half of that was me.
Isn't that the other way round?
Yeah.
You think you've got 101, but half of it was
I set
him.
myself
Did he do all the burning roots then? Because you're getting a bit
He
stuck.
did all the fast stuff.
All right, that's really cool. So, what have we got on 24-hour to burnout?
Yeah, so last thing we want to talk about really was we had some people post 24 hours of Burnout. So people are going to play, I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday next week, right? I should know this because I'm doing it.
Yeah,
but the idea
Tuesday,
is,
4 o'clock UK time till Wednesday, 4 o'clock UK time.
Oh, okay. I'll go in on that.
I can't believe we've signed up for this. So Simons and I will be playing 24 hours of Burnout.
Oh, I'll be dropping in and dropping out.
Yeah, exactly.
Until Wednesday. We're not exactly sure how this is going to work yet. So it might be that we just exist in sessions and we have all sorts of guests join us.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We'll do some interviews with some of the fans during the sessions. We'll do like some special features for next week's podcast that we can just kind of film through the week and in that session, and we'll bring into the Friday podcast so people can see the kind of highlights of what happened there. We'll probably do some competitions. I guess I'll be finishing my 101 finally.
Hey, if you can't do it then.
Yeah. I'm going for the 350. I'm about 120 away, so we can kind of do some of that.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
challenge to Simons is
guaranteeing no downtime on the net.
well, exactly, which is why we start after Tuesday morning, and that's on PS3.
On PS3, yes.
And I think Charnjit's got the day off to do some, presumably some chores around the house or something, and so he's clearly going to be
Some gamer chores,
He's
more
going to
like.
be enjoying a 360 big session from Charnjit. So we'll post on the forum who's going to get involved from the team and when. So if people want to join in,
That's a really cool thing. I mean, it's because of the Le Mans 24 hour. The guys on the forum were saying, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool to get together and play for 24 hours straight?" And they were just organising amongst themselves, and we said, "Well, hell, we'll get involved." And that's we're kind of going to join in, drop in, chat to the guys.
So that's the crazy plan. So
Very good.
I dread to
Have
think
you
what
got,
we'll
like,
look like at the end of that.
A schedule of different things you're going to take on?
Yeah, so we'll post the schedule of what we're going to do, and it'd be great to get some participation from the team as well.
Yeah,
So
we'll get the team in.
We'll be playing in the team area with a couple of machines set up next to each other. So we'll bring all sorts of people down to check that out.
I'll come
Fantastic.
online for a bit and play. And
Have to.
show you
Are we
how
going to
it's done.
sponsor
Show us all how it's
anything
done.
you do beyond 24 hours?
No.
So for every hour extra, we get, I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps it'll be one of those things at the end to see who breaks first.
Yeah.
I've got another
Toilet
hour.
break.
I imagine it's going to be us looking at the forum post. There's guys talking about who's in the 1,000-hour club for playing online. So,
Yeah.
We also got to worry about
1,000
anybody falling
hours.
over dead while they're playing with you guys. Because if they stay in there for 24 hours and they fall over dead, we're going to get sued.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Postcard highlights.
Postcard highlights. We actually got a postcard just over Craig's shoulder from Hell. There, if you like, pull
From
that
Hell?
From where?
Hell.
My
Yeah.
God.
So we haven't had that many in since Monday because we very quick turnaround. But we are sending out all of
That
these.
is excellent.
There we go. From Hell in the Cayman Islands, and that's from.
And I know we weren't going to read postcards out, because
No, right.
we were trying to keep to a very nice tight ship this week. But all it says on the back is "Talk about burnout,"
Nice.
Okay, cool.
and that's from Jason Good, Jag Studios.
Jag Studios, that's PSN.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's one here actually. We got we said about taking photographs of Burnout Paradise boxes in unusual, interesting places.
Yeah.
Got these fantastic photographs to the mailbag today from Seppo Vuakare.
This is
Well done.
This is from. These were taken in Olavinlinna, which is known as Olofsburg in Sweden, is in Swedish, or St Olaf's Castle in Savonlinna, Finland. And he says here's some pictures of the box from our summer trip. I look a bit angry. That's because it was very bright.
Yeah, and he
And
doesn't
also,
look
actually,
like a
probably
guy
because
who-
there's no network connection, so he can't play Burnout Paradise online.
Sunlight phobia.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Very good. So what are your highlights from the mailbag?
Oh, we've got all sorts of little bits and pieces. I can announce to everybody who's mailed us, we finally...
Mailbag at CriterionGames.com.
Absolutely.
There's another song we need.
Oh, yeah.
Quite short though.
Yeah. To everyone who has mailed us and everything, we have this morning fixed the RSS feed.
Yay! Very good.
Yeah, our unsung hero of the website, Mr. Ben Wraithby, has been there hammering away at this knotty problem for quite some time, and it's fixed. So thank you everybody who wrote in to let us know about it, and we were sort of kicking the internet, and finally we've got it sorted. So that's really good. I've got one from our old friend Zero J here that came in this morning. I've opted Jez for this one. It says here, I've got a somewhat crazy burnout idea on my mind. I want to keep it quiet for the moment, but I need to know something first. Anyone at Criterion thinking about getting their hair cut?
Well, yeah, so I can volunteer for that because I get my hair cut pretty much every week, but
Exactly, so
I'm not sure what it is yet.
Right.
Yeah,
I
that
think I'll let
sounds-
you volunteer
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, if it involves tattooing my head, I'm probably not going to be that keen.
Okay, one from Jibsy here. Hi, I've just finished all of my online challenges and was very disappointed with the reward. There was none. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the game. I think it's the best game ever invented, but surely there should be some recognition for doing all 350 challenges.
There will be.
Absolutely.
Not in.
You sounded like Yoda then.
Yeah, so there will be, right? So there are a number of reasons why you don't get an extra car or an extra game mode or whatever when you originally finish all 350. Is because surely down the amount of time it would have taken us to test all of those things, that it would have potentially pushed the release date back of the Burnout Paradise, right? Because they take a long time to test. So at the moment you only have to complete 2 full sheets, we call them, of any free burn challenges. So if you do all of the 2-player ones and all of the 3-player ones, then you get the reward. But if you do all of the 350, you kind of don't get anything. So we know that's obviously something that people are really picking up on. I've been I think we've all been really surprised by what people are calling out on their SIGs as, I'm 101% and I've done 350 challenges. We're always looking at that kind of stuff. So not in Cagney, but almost certainly in Davis and beyond, we will be affecting your license and calling out and giving rewards for people who have done all the challenges up to that point. Because pretty much every time we ship something, we're going to ship more free burn challenges. So the number's going to go up quite
Are the
significantly.
rewards going to go up?
Yes, they have to.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do all that stuff and not get anything.
Yeah,
That's true.
a reward for everybody's favourite part of the game. That's
So
cool.
we know you don't get anything for it, but we're going to fix that in the future, and we'll make it really cool and special. And it doesn't mean you have to go back and do them again, because we will just flick a switch and you'll get something for it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Quick one here. Quick question from Dennis Rosecrans here. It says, if you don't have the Bogart update by the time the Cagney update comes out, will I not have to get the Bogart update data first?
If I don't have the Bogart update first, I
Is,
think
is Bogart in Cagney basically?
yeah, but I think the way the patch systems work is you get one before you get the next one.
Yeah.
Cool.
As I understand it.
Yeah.
All right, time for one more. One quick
okay,
one.
Righto, right. Here's one actually. We do get a few bits and pieces to the mailbag about people who have had problems with their PS3 system and it's died partway through and killed their save game. 2 things.
Save often.
Yeah. Save often and back it up. I mean,
Back
that's
it
it up, kind of thing. It's one of those kind of things we can't actually recreate a save game, even here on the team, because your save games are locked to your PlayStation profile. We have to go through it and play through to get that to 101 and that 350. So yeah, all we can say is get a USB stick and then just copy your save games off and keep it regularly, and do that for all games, because it's not just Burnout Paradise that can happen with.
Absolutely. All right, good stuff. We'll get to some of those other mailbag questions when we've got a bit more time. So the last section, we're going to talk about the future.
The future.
And seeing as we have
Future's
Dave with us, we'll dive onto the island very quickly,
Okay.
because
Cover that first.
before we go into detail on the island, we are going to make a bigger reveal on day and night on the website. So we'll do that,
Yeah, well,
because we've shown day and we've shown night, but we haven't shown any of the in between. So there's a big reveal going to happen, right?
yeah, and I think right now, so I played with the transition from day to night and some other stuff going on recently in the build. I just couldn't believe it. Absolutely looks amazing when you spend a lot of time in Paradise City.
There, Jez?
I did, and it's just amazing seeing how we move from day to night and seeing how that whole process works. But it was so good. We took a load of shots and thought, brilliant, let's put these out. Then we thought, doesn't really do it justice. So we're right now just scrambling around trying to find a cool way to show that to people so they really understand the impact that it has. But absolutely brilliant.
do we just get a video up there and just show?
Yeah,
the full
maybe
cycle,
that's
or-
one for a, if anything deserves a large file size video,
Yeah,
that's one of them.
I think it's one of them. So that's what we'll look into this week.
Like time lapse.
Yeah.
And also the other thing, I think was one of the things about the day-night cycle, is it's not just cosmetic. It actually changes the way you play the game.
Oh no! Well, oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
But oh no, it's not just a day and night cycle.
Oh, yeah. No,
So I mean, we haven't really talked about this much, but the fact that as soon as we put night into the game, we always knew we were going to want to have some night gameplay. So we knew that we'd be cycling through day and night, and obviously there's certain things that I would expect to happen if I'm playing a game and it's day and night cycle. So the traffic densities go up and down as you're playing through, and also some events are available at night and some events are available in the daytime.
Uh-huh.
I think also just the way that it changes your perception of the world. Taking that leap at Dead Man's Edge with just headlights.
In the dark.
Oh, special.
The other cool thing is playing online with people at night is actually really cool because you just it's cool. I really like it.
But
Yeah, it's
online.
amazing.
That's good.
There's a load of stuff we're doing, but we always said that if we do night in the game or if we do weather in the game, it has to have an impact on gameplay. It can't just be there to look pretty because there's no point otherwise. So that's the stuff that we're working through now. I won't go into details, but rest assured that that's the way we're approaching it. We want it to be a different experience, and we want it to, as we've always said, with all of our game-changing content, it's not just more, it's different stuff, and it's a reason to come back and play the game more and continue. So that's what we're doing.
Well, on that theme then, Dave, what are we doing with the island that's different?
Ooh, there's so much stuff that we're doing on the island that's different.
Because we've talked about, we've shown the island for what seems like forever, and people are clearly like, how long does it take to build this stuff? But what they probably don't know is we've already thrown one away, right?
Yeah, so we
kind
one,
of detonated it and it fell into the sea and you built it again.
that sort of happened around the start of the year, and we looked at this island thinking, well, it's kind of cool, but it's just more of the same stuff that we'd already done in Paradise City, right?
Yeah,
and,
so like Craig said, if there's not much point in us doing anything unless it brings new gameplay.
Exactly. So we took a long, hard look at that and thought, well, the best thing is for us to start again, learn from our mistakes and basically redo it all, restructure it, refocus on what we wanted to do in terms of gameplay.
Knowing what you know now, right? Because you benefit from building something, knowing how people played the last thing you built. So
exactly,
and we kind of didn't have that last
data that shows us what people love to play, and it allows us just to put so much of that stuff into this new island. Some of which is so many jumps that we've got. I mean, I've seen forum threads of guys saying, "Oh, I've got like 5 or 6 time barrel rolls going off to these certain parts of the of the world." I'm thinking, crikey, the stuff that we're putting into the island now, I'm just waiting for these guys
Double
to get
figures.
their hands on it. Yeah, I'm just waiting for like the 10, 11 time barrel rolls that they're going to get.
And that's a really important point, though, I think, is that you guys are, with us, reading the feedback on the game, and we know a lot more about the game now than we did a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, because we're talking to people that are playing it the whole time. So it's almost like, what's kind of the best environment that you could create for those guys based on what you know about them? I think that's been the big change, hasn't it?
Yeah, so creating a completely open world island for a start allows the players to pretty much go wherever they want, explore and experience the island that we intended them to be able to do.
Oh, what does that mean then? So you made some decisions. There's lots of places in Burnout where I'd like to go and I can't.
But yeah, so there's parts in Paradise City which are sort of bollarded off or barriered off, and you think, oh, well, it could be kind of cool to look over there or be able to get into that car park and drive there. And for whatever reasons, we decided at the time that it wasn't a great thing because it conflicted with the race events that we'd do, being able to drive smoothly along walls without getting sort of picked off on hard stops, as we call it. And but this island is all about explorative gameplay and being able to get to places that you couldn't do before. So
everybody can be like Skin Jeremy on the forums.
Right, yeah.
Exactly like that.
Am I supposed to be here? Yes,
you are.
So for anyone who actually missed that was a thread that one of our forum posters ran with a bunch of images of places that he'd managed to get to in the world that you just shouldn't go.
Yeah.
So with the car stuck, just amazing.
There's some great stuff in there.
It was when I first saw that, it was kind of cringing as to like what to expect next,
Slap on
where
the
he's
wrist,
going to find it, and
But actually, there's a different way of looking at it now. That's actually really cool. In the past, you're right. Our initial reaction would have been, "Oh my goodness, we should have found that." But now that's really cool. Hey,
people
that's
want to explore the world.
Absolutely.
And, we're going to even more depths this time round on the island to allow people to do that.
So we've taken away a load of invisible collision that we would have had, and that's the reason why we went back and redid the island pretty much from scratch, because we didn't want it to feel like more of Paradise City. We want it to feel very different. And from the stuff I played yesterday, you can pretty much, if you can see it, you can drive it. So you look up to a rooftop and you think that looks cool. Oh, there's a billboard up there. How do I get up there? I must be able to drive up there because there's a billboard there.
Yeah.
So we're starting to put those in. The billboards we're putting on the island are slightly more puzzly is maybe the wrong word, but you have to think about them a little bit more. How you're going to get to one.
They're more challenging to get to.
They're the ones I really enjoyed in the main game.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's when you can see them and you can't even see the direct jump to that.
Yeah.
It's kind of working out 3 or 4 jumps that will get you there is really cool.
Because the thing that's informed those decisions is that we can look at the telemetry of which billboards are in which order people are getting their billboards in Paradise. So even if you're not writing in and mailing us or writing on the forums, you're actually helping us make informed decisions about design by just playing the game, because we can look at the way you play the game and go, you know what, everybody gets these 20-30 billboards really quickly and they don't really play them that much, but people try and get these particular billboards, maybe these 4 or 5, and they crash quite a lot and they get them. So we're finding that people find it more rewarding when they're in more interesting places and you have a bit of lateral thinking and work out how to get there. So that's informed the decisions we've made on the island. Also, the last thing I'll say about me playing it yesterday is that it opens up Stunt Run. So Stunt Run Online is coming in Cagney, so people will be playing that. But the routes that you have in Paradise usually come down to quite linear kind of sprints around the city. People have this
they're all very
memorized
much
kind of
chained together.
You build an imaginary corridor for yourself and you find yourself driving around it. Now, just the fact that you can look at a big S-bend that we have on the island and you can drive over the humped grass in the middle really opens up your potential combos for a stunt run, because you can go anywhere.
Exactly.
So it's not just about driving down a set of preset ramps. You can go off the side of things, off the
more natural
jump a house
places.
from 10 different directions.
Yeah.
So
Are you
that's
now part
really
of Millionaires Club then?
Sam, I invented Millionaires. You're asking the wrong person.
Have you been to Hamilton yet?
Have I been to Hamilton? No, I haven't.
No.
Only because he designed it and built the
If he can't get the highest score in the building on Stunt Run, then I would be kind of worried. That's really exciting. So we're going to be showing some of that stuff. We'll probably talk about that.
Stuff up on
We'll
the
talk a little bit more detail in next week's podcast, just so we're sort of running to a close now. That sounds really cool, and I know it's a big change for what we've thought about in the previous Burnouts and in previous Burnout Paradise, and also the work that you've done so far. That's really cool that
the biggest jump in the game is on the island.
Is on the island,
even more so than the quarry.
By quite some distance. It's
it's a mammoth.
I went off it yesterday, and it was like, oh, I'm in the air for actually quite a long time.
You don't need aeroplanes. You just take the car.
Well, the car essentially turns into an aeroplane when you go off it.
That wraps up episode 35 of Crash TV.
Way!
A bit of energy. There we go. Good stuff. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.